Joe Smith Jr. versus Steve Geffrard. Who do y'all think is gonna win this fight? Before I get more into the video, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more boxing and please hit that like button. It helps out the video, it helps out the channel. I'd really appreciate it. So to those who don't know, 12 rounds in the light heavyweight division. Joe Smith Jr. will be defending his WBO light heavyweight title over at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York, USA, live on ESPN, and that's regular ESPN for y'all. So you don't have to subscribe to ESPN Plus to see this fight. Yeah, Geffrard is the last-minute replacement for Callum Johnson. Callum Johnson tested positive for COVID, so they found somebody to replace him last minute. They just announced this fight a couple days ago, and now we are, January 15. Geffrard finding himself in a position to fight for a world title. A little bit about Steve Geffrard, a 31-year-old fighter from Miami, Florida. 18-2, 12 wins coming by way of knockout TKO. Hasn't really fought anyone notable or, a big name. He's coming off a win against Dennis Gracha back in March. And, he hasn't really been that active also in the past few years. But watching footage of him from years ago, from 6 years ago, he's actually not so bad. He picks his shots well, moves around. I tried to find some footage of him fighting Dennis Gracha, but I only saw a little bit of it. And based on what I've seen, it looks like he's slowed down a little bit since, obviously, years ago. Man, it was like the fight that I saw of him was like from 2016. And, that was a long time ago. Time flies. And Geffrard seems like he slowed down a bit. And yeah, if it was 6 years ago, I think Geffrard would obviously have a better chance here. But watching footage of him now, him slowing down against Joe Smith Jr., I'll have to go with Joe Smith Jr. in this fight. I know Joe hasn't fought as much as well, only fighting once last year against Maxim Vlasov, and hasn't fought in the second half of last year. He was planning to, but he tested positive for COVID. If Joe Smith Jr. is still the same fighter as he was when he fought Maxim Vlasov, which, by the way, was a tough competitive fight, Joe Smith Jr. should be able to go out there and show the world that there's levels in the sport of boxing. There's levels here, and in my opinion, Joe Smith Jr. is just levels ahead compared to Steve Geffrard. Steve Geffrard, who knows? This could be his coming out party. You never know. I mean, if you guys remember, Joe Smith Jr. was the B-side or was the underdog when he fought Andrew Fonfora. At that time, he hasn't really fought anyone notable or big, and if I remember correctly, a lot of us were just saying like, oh man, Fonfora got this. Next thing you know, Joe Smith Jr. knocks out and stuffs Fonfora. And next thing you know, he knocks out Bernard Hopkins. And then he went on to have this career that he currently has as a world champion. And you never know. But on paper, it should be a win for Joe Smith Jr. in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. I'm saying Joe Smith Jr. TKO in the mid to late rounds. I would say round number 8. I think he will break Steve Geffrard apart, break him down. I think Steve I don't think he's ever fought anyone as strong and as powerful as Joe Smith Jr. And I think Steve will feel the power and eventually break in and get stopped in that second half. So round number 8, TKO round number 8, with Joe Smith Jr. successfully defending his title. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And like always, have a great day. All right, thanks.